Pete Hegseth is an SNL sketch at this point. He is playing a caricature of a caricature of a caricature of what he thinks a defense secretary should look and sound like, and it is humiliating to watch. He is putting on a daily performance, and it is a bad performance, and it is why the press was stunned silent as Hegseth continued to let the lies that this administration is telling us slip during a complete meltdown that he had to run away from when he was asked a question he couldn't take from a right-wing outlet. But it all began where most of these Hegseth press conferences do now, and that is with an attack on the press before he let it slip, and then he ran away.
I stand here today speaking to you, the American people, not through filters, not through reporters, not through cable news spin. A dishonest and anti-Trump press will stop at nothing. We know this at this point. To downplay progress, amplify every cost, and call into question every step. Sadly, TDS is in their DNA. They want President Trump to fail. But you, the American people, know better.
He is just a maniac, and he is a deeply unwell person. And although there were many moments during this press conference in which you can see that Hegseth is cracking, I don't think any demonstrated how much of a psycho he is, even more so than just his attacks on the media, because unfortunately we're kind of growing numb to that at this point. Then this fake story that he told about his son and what he said to him about 13 dead service members whose blood is on Hegseth's hands in order to justify this wholly illegal war.
My 13-year-old son popped into my office last night while I was editing these remarks. He asked about the war and the families I met at Dover. And I looked at him and I said, they died for you, son, so that your generation doesn't have to deal with a nuclear Iran. It's the truth. And they did. So to the families who said, finish this, we will. And I say the same to every American who wants peace through strength. May Almighty God continue to bless our troops in this fight. And again, to the American people, please pray for them every day, on bended knee, with your family, in your schools, in your churches, in the name of Jesus Christ.
The man is a psychopath. Are you serious? That shit did not happen. Okay, that didn't happen. The last time we saw Pete Hegseth's kids, they were deeply concerned about him melting down before the cameras on Easter right after Signalgate. You remember this? Hegseth was screaming, and his liberal media and his sideburns weren't cut evenly, and he probably had the smell of tequila on him. And his kids were like, "What the fuck is going on with this guy?" They're like, "Dad, what? We know you're embarrassing yourself." That story did not happen. Hegseth is just trying to do anything possible to justify killing Americans on behalf of Israel and to distract from the Epstein files, because there is no purpose to this war. Hegseth made that pretty clear when his actual intention and Trump's real goal, hey, just let it slip.
That is overwhelming force applied with precision. And again, today will be the largest strike package yet, just like yesterday was. As I've said from day one, our capabilities continue to build, Iran's continue to degrade. We're hunting and striking death and destruction from above.
Death and destruction. Who does that help? Who among us does that help? There is no clear goal, clear aim. Donald Trump yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before said, well, we can just end this war whenever we want. He doesn't have a goal. There is nothing that this administration is trying to achieve. Pete Hegseth wants to puff himself up and pretend that he's a tough guy. Donald Trump wants to puff himself up and pretend that he's a tough guy when he's really just being conned by Israel and, of course, trying to distract from the Epstein files. So much of the decision-making in this administration is based on the crippling insecurity of these men. Pete Hegseth put it fully on display when he was begging for praise for himself and for dear leader Trump.
The world, the Middle East, our ungrateful allies in Europe, even segments of our own press should be saying one thing to President Trump. Thank you. Thank you for the courage to stop this terror state from holding the world hostage with missiles while building or attempting to build a nuclear bomb. Thank you for doing the work of the free world.
So it is the mainstream press, and it is Europe that is responsible for the death of 13 Americans, for tens of billions of dollars wasted, 200 billion, by the way, they won. Enough to fund free college, to make childcare basically a negligent cost. We could do so much. There's so much we could invest in. And no. Pete Hegseth wants us spending $200 billion on probably king crab legs for himself and another nice makeup studio. And yet it is Europe in the press not saying thank you. That is the big problem here. That's the issue that Pete Hegseth has. And he doesn't seem to understand why we have questions and concerns about that, why we have questions and concerns about a war that Donald Trump's own administration has stated was not our idea, right? We got coaxed in, we got tricked in, we got dragged in by Israel. That's what Joe Kent said yesterday on Tucker Carlson's podcast in the bluntest language possible. That's what Marco Rubio said, that Israel was going to strike and we thought that Iran would respond against us, and so we had to hit them first. That sounds like it was Israel's decision. And when Pete Hegseth was asked that, not a lot of great answers came out of him.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jordan Conradson with the Gateway Pundit. So with the strike yesterday on South Par's gas field, if the U.S. didn't know about it or didn't approve of it, it kind of seems like a trend of Israel apparently pursuing their own objectives over U.S. objectives. I'm not sure if you agree with that, but the president has said he doesn't want to hit Iran's oil infrastructure right now. As you said, the U.S. avoided this on Park Island. Oil's nearing $120. Why are we helping Israel prosecute this war if they're going to pursue their own objectives?
We hold the cards. We have objectives. Those objectives are clear. We have allies pursuing objectives as well. And the truth speaks for itself. I mean, President Trump was very clear about that. Iran has weaponized energy for decades. Israel clearly sent a warning, and POTUS has made it clear, very clear. Iran knows when you hit Park Island and you hit military capabilities on Park Island, which is the only thing we hit, we can hold anything at issue, anything. The United States military controls the fate of that country. Iran has the ability to make the right choices. It should not, going forward, target Arab allies, Arab countries, try to create pain, the pain that they created themselves. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
You can tell that this press corps is pretty stunned. And that reporter, funny enough, or I guess I should say, scary enough for the state that we're in with this administration and the relationship to the press, he is a right-wing reporter, right? He does not work for MSNBC or the New Republic or The Nation. But even on the right, and especially on the fringes of the right, in what I would call, and I know this term gets tossed around a lot now, a more anti-Semitic lane, he's asking these questions. I think, if you're going to say that Israel is wholly responsible for every single conflict that the world has ever seen, I think you're probably coming at that as a right-winger from a more anti-Semitic place than you are a place of actually questioning the apartheid state that is Israel, questioning and calling out the genocidal Israeli government. It seems like a different thing. It's not ridiculous. It's, in fact, truthful to say that we were dragged into this conflict by Israel. But that's what the right is asking. You see so many, the Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, calling out the war hawks and calling out the influence that the Israeli government has. There is a splintering right now in the MAGA movement. And Pete Hegseth just couldn't answer that question. It was so bad, in fact, that he just decided after a couple, only it was 3 questions, he just ran away.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Now tell me, does that project toughness on the world stage? Is that strength right there? Is that what Pete Hegseth is encapsulating? Real tough guy, real macho, running away from questions. I don't think so. Again, deep insecurity. That drives the decision-making of this administration on every level. Donald Trump is a deeply insecure person. It is why you have to stand up to him and say no. He will be the one to bend first. And it is why I implore Democrats to not fall into this media construction and Trump construction that you're abandoning the troops, that you're doing a disservice to the troops if you do not fund his illegal war to the tune of $200 billion, because he will just keep coming back for more. And it is wasteful and it is useless. Why are you doing this? If you want to support the troops, make sure you're not sending more of them to die by funding Donald Trump's illegal war. It is embarrassing. That's exactly what Pat Ryan said, and what I thought was a perfect takedown of Hegseth.
Happening here. I guess last question: how embarrassing at this point is Pete Hegseth? We've been watching some of his press conferences. The guy sounds nutty.
I mean, Hegseth has literally become more deranged than the SNL skits at this point, and it would be funny if he wasn't literally killing American soldiers. And so, for him to stand up there, you see each time he screws up and we screw up and we lose Americans, he gets more desperate and he screams louder and he just shows his weakness. He is fucking pathetic at this point, and he has the blood of now 13 Americans on his hands, and he needs to be held accountable for that. I actually started a website called firehegseth.com, and everybody upset about this war should go right now and sign up for that, because we need to fire Pete Hegseth.
So, Congressman, what do you make of NATO, kind of not backing up Trump in this crazy war that we're in?
Well, this is a war that we shouldn't have started. It's a war where now 13 Americans are lost, a war where oil prices are going up, cost of everything's going up, and the president spent years shitting all over our allies and then doesn't consult them before this war, doesn't consult the American people before this war, and now he expects them to come to our assistance. And it just shows what a failure of leadership by Trump in this matter. So
Embarrassing. That is what these people are. They are embarrassing. They are insecure. They are putting us all in danger. And we are going to continue to call it out on this show.